On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
There's definitely a dedication that it takes to making yourself a better leader. I think that's a big part of it. You're not just have one or two guys that now you're working with. Maybe you're not touching every employee at every day. I mean, right. You also have to be leading them without physically being there doing it.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
What's up, everybody? Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings, coming to you this week with a guest, Wesley Tribbitt, who has built a 7-figure plus fencing business. And I'm telling you right now, this regular Joe, and I don't say regular Joe in a harmful way, but this guy, I felt like I'd known him for years, man, just so relatable and such a good dude. And he cares about his people. In fact, some of his people are his family. And so I think that if you're listening right now and you've got family in your business or you've got just a desire for more, you are going to get a ton out of this one. Grab that pen and paper. Here it comes. All right, everybody. I'm Chaz Wolfe. I'm the host, Gathering the Kings. And I've got Wesley Tribbitt on the show today. What's up, dude?
Hey, Chaz. How's it going today?
Good, man. I'm thankful that another bearded fella has been successful in business, so I can talk to you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I actually had a mess up probably about maybe 3 months ago and nicked it a little bit farther than I wanted to. I'm glad it's starting to kind of fill back in a little bit.
Come back in. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, the beard, especially yours being red, man. You know, actually, I had a guy a couple weeks on the show, and his was red and much bigger than mine. Even, so.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, there you go. What kind of business do you have?
So we are in fencing and automated gate systems. So anything from a residential, commercial fence around your house, around your property, or automated gate to keep the driveway secure, keep people out.
Yeah, man. I just moved into custom home build. We were just talking about it offline.
Yep.
And I need a guy like you in Kansas City. So I need a nice. In fact, I was gonna put like the last name or maybe like a elk thing in the gate. Do you guys do that too?
I have guys that build that. So we do fabricate some, but I'll tell you, there's some guys that can do some amazing work, and I'd much rather have them put something.
And then
you'll
just install it.
That's it. That's exactly right. Well, I know the function and the back of it, the back end of it. I can make it work.
That's awesome, man. Well, and I think there's even success in what you're saying. Basically, you're staying in your lane and you're not trying to cover up too many spots. So I'm super anxious to get into your story. You're at the 7-figure mark, obviously, since you're on the show, but we want to dig into your story and how you've gotten there. But before we do, at this level in the game, right? Because you've been at this level for a minute and you're still pushing. So like, why? Why do you feel like you have to keep going even at this level?
Well, I've always been a builder. I always enjoy the process of seeing progress. That's something I've always enjoyed, whether it be just little games around the house or playing baseball, trying to get that average up just a little bit higher. I mean, that's always been me. I just enjoy I enjoy the process of that. So, but you also have to factor in, I mean, I have 3 young kids, so I am nowhere near have them set, basically, is kind of the way I look at it. So there's a lot of drive behind that as well.
Each time that we've chatted, the kids have always come up, even in our conversations. We were just talking about mowing and you missed the time with the kiddos, because that's obviously a huge part of why you've done what you've done.
It is the
kiddos.
Yep. Yeah. They are a big part of my why. That's for sure.
I guess probably, was it always like that? Or did you know even before having kids that was a big part of who you were? Or like, how did you get to that why?
No, I'll tell you what, it was funny because me and my wife, we talk about it and we're done at 3. That's plenty. That's more than enough. But we always beforehand talked about, are we going to have this, that, 1, 2, whatever. And I always said I don't know. Do I want them? I mean, I'm pretty selfish with my time. I have things that I want to do. And do I always want to dedicated to having kids. But I'll tell you what, it's a total different experience. I mean, for those that have them, for those that don't, you will if you get to that. It's definitely a different drive for sure. So
yeah, man,
I wasn't always one to having them, that's for sure.
Exactly. Well, and then now that you do, it provides a level of like you said, drive, purpose, why, but it's like a whole nother level. You don't even understand that level even exists until you have that driving force.
That's the truth. Absolutely right.
For sure. Okay. Well, let's go back into your story a little bit here. Take me back to where entrepreneurship started for you first.
Yeah. So I grew up with my whole family basically were entrepreneurs. My stepdad started this business that I now own. He started this back in 92. My blood dad had a mace or a concrete type company that he had for a while. My aunt has another successful fence company in the area, so that's another story. But so a lot of the people in my life were that way. So it was, I guess, something that was just kind of normal. I mean, it was just something that's kind of what you kind of did when you got to the point where you were ready to do it, and that's kind of what we did.
Exactly. I love that you had that surrounded by you, because that was just totally not my story. And I think that there's plenty of listeners out there, especially, when you have, like, they're all contractors, right? So like when different verticals of service companies, you got the fencing guy, you got the concrete guy, you got the flooring guy, so forth and so on. And a lot of times it's a big family. So I think that just provided for you just a really cool experience. So with that being said, though, we've talked about a couple of things, off air, that because of that, it pushed you into wanting to do a business in a certain way. And so talk to me about, like, okay, so you got the influence of being around business owners, but like, why do you do your business maybe a little different?
Well, I'm kind of a provider. So I'm always trying to look to provide, whether it be a lot of the people that work with me are family, as well as some others that aren't, obviously. But I like to provide, and I like to make sure that we're growing so that everybody can do the same.
Yeah.
In the past, my stepdad that owned the business, he was kind of more of the let's do what we need to do so we can have fun, and he wasn't really looking to grow the business. It really wasn't something he was into. But for me, with the family members as well as the team members that we have, it's important that they can provide for their families as well. And I think that growth is the only way for that to happen. It's a great small business when you're just doing gates and just a couple of guys. But if you really want them to be able to provide as well, you have to take that next step.
Yeah, I love how you've positioned that as almost now it's your responsibility. And I've had this conversation often with guys like you at this level, because you've taken an ownership or a personal responsibility for your team now, and then their families. So it's like a whole nother level of like, whoa, like,
right.
I now have a whole nother role of significance, of people that are counting on me.
Yep.
And so I can totally appreciate that. Why do you think that, whether it's your stepdad or just people in general, a lot of business owners, why do you think that they try to just stay small or not want to grow the business? They just kind of keep it, fun, like you said.
Yeah, I would say probably a fear of that responsibility. I mean, it is a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. And some people don't want that. They're comfortable going out, doing the work. They're comfortable keeping it where it's at and keeping it as what they know and not wanting to step out any further. Not that that's a bad thing. There's some people that do very well with that, and that's really what they want, and they're able to provide for what they want to provide for. Everybody's wants and needs and drives are different. So
if I'm hearing you right, the person that's listening right now, if they want to basically, like, it's hard to say it as if it's like, I'm looking down on it, but like they want to stay small. They want to just do their little thing. That's okay, obviously. And I agree with you. That's okay. But I do think that there's a level of selfishness that comes with that, right?
Yes.
There's a level of play into a big entrepreneur like you or I, who we say, okay, well, because I want to serve more people, more clients, more team members, families, then it's just going to take more. And so then you just level up another time, whether, of course, there's always going to be stressors or overwhelm in the business, but you got to level up. You got to become better. You got to become a better leader, a better owner, a better person, right?
That's absolutely the truth. There's definitely a dedication that it takes to making yourself a better leader. I think that's a big part of it. You're not just have one or two guys that now you're working with. maybe you're not touching every employee at every day. I mean,
Right.
you also have to be leading them without physically being there doing it.
Well, and who says you're a good enough leader that they want you to interact with them every day? You know,
I don't believe I am, which is why I'm always trying to get better.
Well, and it's like, okay, that's just self-presuming that you couldn't find somebody who's better than you who could be involved with them every single day.
I'd certainly sure I probably could. And that's okay. If I can find somebody that's going to do that, that's fantastic.
Exactly. So, I mean, I just liken it to, all areas of growth, right? Like, you've mentioned you have a wife, you have mentioned you have children. Like at some point you just decided that, well, what we had last year was last year. Like that was cool and all, but like that was last year. I don't know. Like you always want more in your marriage. You want more in your family. You want more. Like it just would make sense that you'd want more in your business. So I think if you're listening right now and these words that Wes and I are going back and forth on, if it makes sense, then you're in the right place. If you're just like, heck no, then it just growing the business isn't for you, which is it's not a bad thing, but I would say you're on this podcast for a reason. And I would actually venture to say that it is a problem for you. It may not be a problem for the other guy, but it's a problem for you. And so you have to grow, just like Wes is saying right now. So from an angle of being six figures, right? Like that's who the listener is right now. They're listening to you. You're up at the top of the mountain. You've made it, right? Thinking back in your story before you were seven figures and you're grinding it out, like you're just trying to get to that level. Tell me about a good decision that you made that just sticks out as like okay, that was a huge point in the business and it should be applicable for the listener.
And you know what? And that's pretty easy for me. I reached out. I'm actually in a B&I group. I got a relationship with the business coach. And that was something that I thought was a big thing that's really helped us. I know fencing, I know gates. I grew up in the business. I know what to do, but sometimes being forced into that or at least pressured to hold myself accountable was important.
Totally.
I definitely think that was a big step for us. Awesome. Was when I hooked up with him. I've probably been with him 3 years now or so.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been
how long did you know him or know of coaching before you decided to go, you know what? I need to do that.
I'm a little bit of when it comes to something like that, when I see that it might work, I jump in. I probably knew him I met him maybe 6 months before I decided to sit down with him and kind of go over. But once I started talking with him and I could kind of see that this was going to be a good step, I jumped in and we kind of went from there. So
do you think making decisions quickly like that, and not that 6 months is a quick decision, but I mean, is that valuable as an entrepreneur in your history?
Yeah, it is. I definitely think you have to be able to do it. There are times when I'm a little bit slower with it than a lot of people, but I kind of overanalyze sometimes my disc assessment. I'm a C, so I like to see all the details. But yeah, so I do think it's important though. You have to be able to jump on an opportunity or something that you see that's going to help you without question. We're in the middle of switching CRMs right now, and we're busy season. I mean, this is something that I looked at it. I said, you know what? This is something that's going to help us. Let's do it. So it wasn't like let's wait until the spring or the fall or winter. It's going to help us now. So let's get on and do it. Because sometimes you got to.
If anything, let's speed up the process.
That's it, and that's what I've been doing. It's been a lot of work.
That's awesome, man. I love that angle of just going for it when you know. And if you don't know, just get more information. It's not that you need to hesitate. Just get the information that you need. It's a classic decision blocker is information. Just get the information and then boom, make the decision.
That's it.
Okay. Well, let's flip the coin and let's talk about a bad decision that you made that just was, almost catastrophic. Yeah.
So this happened, I want to say about 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years. I took a project with the subcontractor on an Air Force base, and it was a good project. Who we were subbing through kind of drug their feet on what everything needed to be done. We ended up designing a lot of it that wasn't part of our contract. And because it was the prestige of having this project that I wanted to do it, wanted to do it at 125% of our best. And I wanted everything to be right. I overstepped our rules. I mean, I was doing all of the stuff that wasn't in our contract. I never ended up billing I ended up billing for it, but I didn't on schedule bill for one of the draws we should have and trusted that they were going to get it done. Well, come the end of the project, they ended up going bankrupt. And here we are 2 years later waiting on 70% of the pay of the project. So, and that, I mean, we're a small business for the most part. So that one, it hurt. It hurt. And still to this day, I mean, I still get court notifications of whether they're doing this or that or whatever. So, yeah. So that was probably the worst decision. It wasn't taking the project. It was not following the rules of making sure you weren't overstepping.
Yeah. Well, and more so even than that, what I'm hearing you say for the listener is that the reason that you overstepped was because of the fear of not being the best or wanting the project to be perfect or wanting to try to control the scenario, so that's like so many things that we do as entrepreneurs where we just stick our hands in things thinking that we're trying to control it.
Yep.
I'm all about personal responsibility. So I going back 2 years, I probably, maybe we would have been in the same boat, just trying to make it sense in that moment.
Right.
But knowing that, that now, how would you go about that situation different?
I would have been more upfront and more, this is what it is. I mean, we cannot progress any further unless we get this second draw. I'm happy to design it. We can work on that. But here's what it's going to be. I mean, I'd get paid for my time. Right. I mean, there was a lot of time that I didn't get paid for just because I thought I was doing the right thing or because I wanted the prestige of the job. I wanted the job to be 110%. But it just, when it comes down to it, it's still not worth not making money at it. I mean, or here we are. If I would have just done that, I probably wouldn't have gotten burned for the amount of time, probably a whole month's worth of work that we did and haven't seen anything for it. So,
it's actually a good reminder, I think, for everybody listening that you can provide value, but it doesn't always have to be free, and also going above and beyond or doing what's right doesn't always look like you giving things. It can be mutual, meaning like what you said, I can come to the table. I can say, absolutely, I can take a look at going outside of our scope. Here's what it would look like. Here's what the time frame it would be. Like being a good communicator in that, like you said, would have aligned with what it is that they actually needed, but not put you out. You still would have been able to provide value, gotten them out of a pinch, been able to go above and beyond, but still gotten the reward of getting paid.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, and that's all it is. It just, the communication, I think that the word that you had there is big. If I would have just communicated, I'm not one to blame anybody for anything. I'm sorry that they got put in that circumstance, which in turn is horrible for us, but there's definitely things that I could have done differently. And that's kind of what you take away from it.
100%. I think that that's a common theme. Obviously, when I ask folks of what they've done wrong, it's a quick, about what I did wrong, but then quickly what I learned and what I would do differently. And I think that approach, what you're saying, is the more important thing to realize. And so did you make changes to your contract? Do you negotiate differently now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's we've been in that circumstance maybe once or twice since, and it's been a quick, hey, we're happy to move forward. We're coming up on the deadline here for the draw. Let's get this taken care of. And we haven't got to the point where we've had to do anything other than that. Yeah. So and I'm probably a little bit pickier on who we're working for too. So that's part of it. But but that's okay. You live and you learn.
That's right. That's good. One other thing that you made me think of there as you were talking about the prestige of the product, or of the project. My many years in sales, I would train sales reps and entrepreneurs too about not having this commission breath, and you can't be so hungry for the deal that you're willing to do whatever, because then it actually pushes away the client, right? So you act as if you've got, whether you do or not, you have all these deals in the pipeline. And so that way you have posture so that you can deal with your prospect like a professional and not a beggar, right? But it's the commission breath, or in this case, like you're saying, the prestige of having this notoriety under my belt of doing this project and wow, look at me. It actually clouded your judgment in that moment of what you were willing to do, like commission breath does for sales reps.
100%.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
It makes you do crazy things.
It will. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to have a confidence with you, especially in sales. And you don't want to beg for the job because, one, you're not going to make any money when you start throwing things in. Two, you're going to look like you need it. And when you look like you have to have it, people can sense that. So you have to have some sort of a confidence to you and know that you're offering something that has value.
That's right. 100%. All right. So let's talk about a process. We've talked about good and bad decision here. What do you do, if anything, that leads you to making a good choice? Like now you've experienced highs and lows. Do you follow any sort of process in making decisions, or is there any sort of discipline that you and the wifey or you and your team go through?
Well, I think as far as the processes in the business, we have implemented a lot of different things over the past couple of years. I say one of the biggest, we have team meetings, so we kind of go over a lot of stuff. I'm pretty open. A lot of people may not be. I'm pretty open with my guys. They know what the company goals are. They know where we're going. They know where we're trying to go. And I think that's been a big part, and trying to get people on board is if you keep them in the dark, it's harder to lead them. I mean, if they know where they're going, it helps. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest, is having the weekly. We have a weekly meeting every Monday, and we go over everything, whether we're going over, we got a new refrigerator, here's the rules for it, or if we have something as small as that, or hey, like we're doing now, we're switching our CRM, and this is going to be the process, and we take any input. So during those meetings, it's not just me talking, it's we're all listening as well. So I think that's been a big part.
That's cool, man. Obviously, when you're at this level, it's not just you making the decision potentially. So you've got guys to be considerate of, your team members, whatever it might be. Yep. Do you think that for the person listening right now at the 6-figure mark, maybe they've got, a person or two, or maybe even 5 or 10 on their team? How would you look back? And when you had just that small team, like, would you have done anything different that you know now that you didn't know then?
Yes, absolutely. Tons of things, but right off the bat, trust your team more. That's really it. Delegate. Make sure that if somebody's ready to do something, especially if they're saying they're ready and they want to do more, which was my case, let them do it. Let them do it. And nobody's going to do everything exactly the way you do it. And because they're doing it different doesn't mean they're doing it wrong. So I would definitely say let your team grow. Don't hold them back.
Yeah, that's so good and so true. I'm just thinking like of that person right now who just heard you say that, and they're like, yeah, but, and then doubt and scarcity and like, but what if they don't do it right? And then I'm going to lose the client, and then XYZ and all the things, right? Like you and I both know exactly what that feeling is.
Yeah. I mean, if they do something wrong, pick up, communicate with the client, and move forward. I mean, not everybody's going to do everything the way you want it to be done all the time.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
I mean, like what you're saying is 100% true. To remember on the backside of that, though, is that if you're the only person doing it, then there's no chance you're getting to 7 figures. No chance.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you can't do it on your own unless you hit the lottery and you put that into your business bank account. I mean, there's no way to earn it. You definitely need help.
Yeah, it's almost like, I compare like, folks that, that grow a big business as, like some people I think of as like narcissistic or greedy or, all about themselves, right? Because they're wanting to grow. Yep. But I think it's actually the reverse. When someone doesn't, they're the ones that like how arrogant are you to think that you can't find anyone else as good, if not better? Absolutely.
Yeah, no, when you have gotten to the point where you can kind of look back on that, that's the truth. By you not letting them grow, you're being selfish. And you're really saying that you can't do it as good as me. So I'm not going to let you try.
The listener can't see you, but just everything that you've done, even just your facial expressions, when we talk about your people, you just light up. And I don't even know your team, but I know you've got a couple of guys on your team that you really care for, obviously, because even just in telling these stories, you've lit up about, them raising their hand saying, I want more. And I'm sure you were thinking of that one guy when you're like, he does it completely different than me, but that's okay.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly right. He may not communicate the way that I thought I would, or he should, but he gets it done and he does what has to be done.
Yep. That's right. That's good. Okay. We're going to switch over to the speed round here.
Cool.
And the first question is always the same. In your business, you track a lot of things. I'm sure you've got a CRM. You're changing to a new CRM. There's lots of things that you track inside of CRM. But if there was only one metric that you could pick and to track it forever and ever, what would it be?
In our world, it'd be gross profit.
Okay. High level gross profit.
Yeah. Every single job. I want to know what we made on every single job just that day. I know what we need to make in the business, and we can factor all that right on down. But if we're making a certain percentage or amount gross profit per day, I know I know we're good, and I'll deal with the sales. But if we're producing at this amount, I'm good.
That you understand the rest of it. That's how my brain works also. But some people don't understand what that means when you can just give one metric or one, especially if you're talking about like a sales related metric, and how the rest of the business should in your brain go brrr, and then you know the rest of it too. Not that you know every last little thing, but that one number should give you the rest of the story pretty quickly.
Yep.
If you can manage it from top down like that. Okay, next question is, what book would you recommend that a 6-figure owner read trying to get to the 7-figure mark?
I've seen a couple of, I've read, I do the Audible, so I go through a bunch of different ones, but I would say the best one would probably be Extreme Ownership. That was a fantastic book, all about owning things that are going on around you, not blaming or pushing blame or anything like that. It's all about making sure that you're owning your situation.
I love Jocko.
Yeah, me too. That was cool. It was a good book. Very good book.
Yeah, and and it's what I love in that book too. Actually, he breaks down a lot of obviously extreme ownership stuff, but how that then plays into your team and how that plays into other parts of the business. And so, fantastic recommendation. Thanks for that. And Jocko's a great guy to follow too. So, next question is: do you intentionally network or mastermind? You already mentioned the BNI group. Do you mastermind or get together with other entrepreneurs on a regular basis at all, and why?
I would say outside of the BNI group, we do things outside of it. I would say that we do. I have a couple of Facebook groups that I'm a part of. I have a couple of friends that are also part owners in businesses. Yeah. So I would say socially, somewhat. I would think probably more of my friends are owners or part owners than anything than my friends that aren't. So
yeah. Obviously, what's the phrase? Birds of a feather flock together, right?
Yep. That's it.
And so I guess the value there that you found around having or keeping those friends is that you can talk business or that you can refer people. Like what should the listener be hearing? Both.
I enjoy, the networking part of it, I personally, and which is why I'm part of the BNI group. I enjoy having people to refer. So when I'm out looking at your property, even if I don't have the sale yet, when I'm there taking a look and you got a big landscaping issue, I know 4 guys right off the bat. I got somebody for you right here. Yeah. Let me hand you these guys' names. I enjoy helping. That's what I do. That's what we do. We help people when it just ends up being fence. Yeah. So if you need an HVAC guy or a painter or anything like that, I like having a contact that I can hand out just to help out a little bit.
And in return, what it does actually, whether you mean to it or not, it brings you value with the client, right? Like,
trust.
100%. That you're looking out for them, that you've done the due diligence on these guys. They're trustworthy, all that fun stuff. I love that perspective. Do your sales guys kind of follow the same process? Like, do you have them refer folks out?
I'll tell you what. Currently, it's just me. I'm the only sales guy, but whenever somebody calls, if they have an issue, they say, I'm sure Wes has somebody. Let me get that contact and get back to you. So they know to do that. They know that's what we do. And whether it even be one of the guys out in the field and the customer, when they're installing the fence or gate and the customer mentions something let me get a hold of Wes. He's got somebody to help you out.
Yep, exactly. Well, so that's got to be somewhere on the near future for you is hiring a sales team, right?
Yeah, that's certainly going to end up being there. I can't run it all. I can't do it all, even though we've changed our process up a good bit where I'm not running quite as much as I was before. But it certainly is something that's going to happen.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited for you on that. Okay, last question. You ready?
Yep.
If you lost it all, there was not one more fence to install.
Not more.
What would you do, man? What would you do, Wes?
All right. If there's no fence to install anywhere, I don't know, man. I'd start something else up. You know what I like? It's a weird one. Really odd. It's going to sound real weird, but it's something for whatever reason. It's always been something I'm like, there's something to do there, even if it's nice and simple. It's cleanup of a yard. When we go out to put a fence in, there's dog crap all over the yard. There's a business there. There's a way to pick that up and get rid of it. And so if all the fences are done, that means there's tons of pets out there. So maybe that's what we would do.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just on a pod with a guy who, as a kid, he would mow, pick up the poo, and something else, And so maybe that's something that is a little side business for your kiddos. Like you go out, you install the fence, you say, hey, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to refer you to little Susie. She happens to be my daughter, but you got stuff in your yard, and she come by and pick it up every month.
Yeah, you won't have to anymore. Yep, that's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, like I said, it's really weird. It's a weird one. I love pets. I mean, that's partly why I probably into fencing, but I enjoy, once we put that fence up, I enjoy the pictures, the videos of all the dogs and pets that get to run around the yard now that they didn't get to do that before. Yeah. So pets are big to me. So that is probably would be somewhere in that field probably.
It's funny. I had never, when you said fencing, when I've heard fencing for 35 years of my existence, of course you think pets, yes, but like the mission of like freeing pets, like that's what you're doing. You're on a mission to free pets, like to get them off the porch and get them off the couch, Yep. You're freeing dogs pets all over the world.
You're also freeing their parents, their peace of mind, let them run, get some energy out, but also parents of kids. I mean, you think about it,
of course,
let the kids go out and let them play in the yard on the play set, and you don't have to be just hawking over them, making sure they're not running out outside the yard. So
yeah, man. I love the connection to that. Like, I guess I live in an area where we have acreage, so I don't have a big fence, but when you say it like that, that changes the meaning of the entire business.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
That's something that you can get a team around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. Okay, dude. Well, you've been incredible here today. Any last thoughts for the listener who is at 6 figures trying to get to 7? What last little nugget can you drop in here for them?
I would say you're on that brink. You can feel it. You just need something to push you over. Whatever that leap is, take it. Take your chance. Take a chance on yourself. Do it.
I love
That'd be it.
Yeah, I love how you said take a chance on yourself too, because that's really what it is. That's really what it is. You got to believe in yourself first. Yep. Good stuff, man. Well, we wish you absolutely nothing but success. Where can someone find you if they connected with you today and they want to reach out and they want to chat with you?
Definitely. I mean, I'm on Facebook. Wesley Tribbitt's my name. You can get me on there. Messenger. We have our Facebook page for the business, Leading Edge Gates and Controls, LLC. And then we also have our website that we have all of the fencing as well as our gate stuff on there. It's www.leadingedgegates.com.
Nice. I love it, dude. Well, again, we appreciate you being on the stage today. Thanks for sharing your nuggets with us. Congrats on all your success so far, and I'm sure you'll continue to rock it.
Awesome, Chaz. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Gathering the Kings. We hope you got a ton of value today and learned a thing or two about taking your business to 7 figures and beyond. If you desire more and want a community around you to help you get there, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. That's gatheringthekings.com. And I want you to apply for our next Becoming a King 90-day intensive. We are extremely exclusive by nature as a group. What that means is that we're really wanting only the entrepreneurs who take their business and targets super serious to apply. So if that's you, you think you got what it takes to level up your business, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com and apply. And we will see you on the other side.